Hey guys, it's Liv here, bringing you guys our Week 2 game for the Ultimate Pokemon Championship Season 1, aka the 5-9 Gaming League. We are taking on Gale, coach of the Southampton Swamperts. If you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like. And with that said, let's just get right into the matchup. So for everyone who is unfamiliar with my draft, and this may be your first video that you're seeing from my team, we have Duskmane, Necrozma, Kyurem Black, Excadrill, Infernape, Hippowdon, Mega Pidgeot, Electros, Araquanid, Silvally, Gourgeist, Sneasel, and Aromatisse. And my opponent's draft is Mega Venusaur, Torkoal, Uxie, Kyurem White, Mimikyu, Azumarill, Terrakion, Mamoswine, Incineroar, Pyukumuku, Milotic, and Emolga. So a couple things to note, my opponent doesn't really have a great ice switch in, at least not specifically to Kyurem, because every single ice switch on this team ends up being destroyed by Fusion Bolt. So Kyurem Black was honestly a really strong win con option for me potentially. Not only this, but my opponent's draft as well did not really have a good ground switch in, the only one really being Emolga. So looking at that, I sort of knew where I was going to go with this team pretty easily. First up on the team, we have Fusion Bolt, Roost, Sub, and Ice Beam on Kyurem Black. I'm max speed to tie with my opponent's Kyurem White. I want to make sure that I can hit that. I decided to ditch Draco for Roost, just so I can keep this thing as healthy as possible. Really couldn't afford to honestly mess around with that Pokemon, because if this Pokemon goes down, then Kyurem White just has a lot easier time against me, especially if I don't have a sub up, let's say, and it just goes for a raw attack. So that can be pretty bad. I just want to keep this thing healthy. We have Sandragahar, our Excadrill with Earthquake, Iron Head, Rock Slide, and Sword Stance. Really solid Sand Sweeper this week. I'm creeping every sort of Scarfer possible in the sand, so there's no real concern there. The only thing that would really be a concern for this is if Terrakion gets a Rock Polish up, which I don't really think it can do against any of my Pokemon, so I'm pretty safe in that regard. Drill honestly has really no good counterplay. Rock Slide is really just here for the Emolga, otherwise I wouldn't have brought it, because Iron Head, Earthquake just hit everything else so well. Really the best switch in this would be Pyukumuku, but I have other options for that. Like, for example, we have Hippowdon, our Sand Setter, with Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Toxic, and Slack Off. The goal is to Toxic Pyukumuku if it does come, otherwise I'm just going to set Sand and run House with Drill. So, yeah, there's not a lot there. The only thing that really threatens these three right now is Azumarill. It's the most threatening to these, but Kyurem Black can still Fusion Bolt it. Drill still does a fair bit with Iron Head, so I'm not too worried. We have our Mega Pidgeot here with Hurricane, Roost, Refresh, and Toxic. I've refreshed on this mostly to avoid Toxic from Pyukumuku. The plan is basically to use this as a really solid Pyukumuku check. I couldn't really set up Workup because I just couldn't justify bringing it over Refresh because otherwise I got Toxic stalled. And there really isn't good flying switches either. I forgot to mention that in my team builder, but the only flying resist is also Emolga. In case you couldn't tell, I actually do kind of think Emolga has to come here, because otherwise Drill and Mega Pidgeot do just run away with this game. We have Chitoge, our Scarf Infernape, with Close Combat, U-Turn, Mach Punch, and Gunk Shot. In the off chance that I find that the Terrakion is Scarfed, I'm going to go for the Mach Punch if I'm able to guarantee the kill there. That way then, I can not have to risk a speed tie, so that's really what Mach Punch is for. Otherwise, I'm clicking Close Combat, Gunk Shot, and U-Turn pretty freely. Didn't really need a Fire move because Mega Venusaur is the Grass type, which has Thick Fat, so didn't really think it was worth it, especially when I have so many other better options for it, like Terrible, Kyurem Black. I have Drill, which is still neutral with Earthquake, Mega Pidgeot as well, so I didn't really feel the need to run a Fire move, especially when Gunk Shot will still hit neutrally. Finally, we have our potential sweeper this game, the Duskmane Necrozma, with Sword Power, Earth Power, Flash Cannon, and Autotomize. Basically, the plan is to set up on literally anything besides the Pyukumuku, unless I get the thing Toxic. And then I'm going to go for Autotomize spam. At +2, I should outpace everything besides Scarf Terrakion. At +4, I can outpace everything. If I pop the weakness policy in something like Terrakion, for example, I should 1, shoot a hit from any sort of Terrakion set, and 2, Sword Power should start running away with this game. Really, the only counterplay at that point would be Uxie. So yeah, with that said, hopefully you guys enjoy it, and with that said, let's just get right into the battle.
Hey there guys, what's going on? It's Galeriot here, back on the 5-9 channel, and of course, we're here for week 2 of the draft league. We're going up against the New Orleans Saint Snow. I was gonna say Snake Snow for some reason. But yeah, week 2, of course, last week was a bit of a whitewash on my behalf. I kind of didn't do the best job I could have against Fraz, but team selection and just bad decisions in battle led to some mishaps. This time around, I'm going in a bit more prepared. Obviously, I'm going up against an expert battler compared to myself, who's been out of the scene since like, what, Gen 6, basically, early Gen 7. And even in Gen 7, I pretty much just did random battles on Showdown. So competitive-wise, we're going to be in a completely different class, but I'm still looking forward to it. It's going to be a great way for me to learn and understand how a proper battler does. But yeah, we're going up against the Saints Nose, of course, and my selection is pretty much very similar to what we had last week, but effectively different at the same time. We're bringing in Mamoswine this time, of course. You know, if you look at the Saints' Nose, we've got Dusk Necrozma, Psychic Steel, really good option there. Kyurem Black, Ice Dragon, of course. We can use our ground types and fire types that we have to counter. Infernape, Excadrill, Mega Pidgeot with this rock type moves we could use, of course, with obviously Soul Rock, and then potentially not rock types, but mainly the ice type. Sorry, why did I say rock types? Ice type moves and stuff like that. Electros is the biggest threat in this team, obviously being an electric type. I did consider bringing Emolga for her for that one, but I do believe if we can effectively use Pyukumuku and Venusaur to our advantage here, I think that'll kind of counter Electros a bit here. My only concern is that and of course Mamoswine being immune to electric type moves will be kind of important here. Araquanid is obviously an issue as well, but I do believe having a with the advantage that we have with of course Venusaur and whatnot, I think we'll be able to be fine with Araquanid. But yeah, my main concerns are obviously Kyurem Black, Dusk Necrozma, Mega Pidgeot to an extent, and Electros. I think those will be my biggest concerns. Araquanid coming in close. It's going to be hard estimating what team Liv is going to bring, but let's give it our best shot, and we'll see what she brings to the table. Of course, it's going to be very exciting. I'm very, very much looking forward to it.
Okay, so my opponent ends up bringing Mega Venusaur, Kyurem White, Torkoal, Pyukumuku, Mamoswine, and Milotic. I don't know why I thought there was a lot of trouble saying that Pokemon's name. But in terms of this lead, honestly, there's a few things that could probably lead. I think the Torkoal's a really strong lead for one. I think that the Mammo's also a really strong lead. I think that Kyurem White could also just try and lead and claim a kill. If I had to pick a lead, I think I'm gonna have to go with Kyurem Black. I think Kyurem Black is honestly my safest lead. It should be fine enough against Mamoswine to at least justify leading it there. I could also actually lead off with Infernape, because I could U-turn on Pyukumuku. I could actually U-turn on any bad lead here. I guarantee get it off. So I think it's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to lead off with Infernape.
Alright, so we're here, and yeah, she's brought in the Pokemon I thought she'd bring. Hippowdon is an interesting option, I must admit. But she did bring in a majority of the Pokemon I actually expected her to bring. Of course, I do obviously have my own counters to kind of counter her, but at the same time, it's gonna be very interesting to say the least. I'm gonna probably just lead in with Torkoal, I think that'll be the best thing to do. Set up rocks, you know, yawn, get that out of there, rapid spin if need be, depending on the situation, and just go from there. I think that'll be the best thing to do, of course. Gonna be interesting. I don't know what she's thinking, of course, about my team, of course, because, you know, considering all things said and done, I just have a random Pyukumuku in there, bringing in, hey, I gotta make sure Pyukumuku works at least once in this draft league. I'm gonna try my very, very goddamn hardest. Alright, so obviously, she brings out Infernape immediately. Chitoge, okay, very, very interesting name. Obviously, Chitoge from Nisekoi, I assume, at least. I love that she's nicknamed her Mons. I was considering nicknaming my Mons in week 1 as well, but I kind of was like, you know what, nah. One of the funny ways I wanted to do it was actually kind of like nickname them different Mons for different names. So I would have named Kyurem White, Torkoal, and so on and so forth. That would have been a bit unique, a bit funny, and one way to go about it, I suppose. Let's set up Yawn.
So you see the Yawn go off, that's perfectly fine. What do I want to bring in on this? I think ultimately, so we see Stealth Rock and Taunt, Stealth Rock and Yawn. I think what I do here is I think I go into Infernape. Because I get, at the very bare minimum, we know this is leftover as well, I can bare minimum U-turn this. My guess is it's going to click a fire move. Oh, it clicks Rapid Spin. Okay, that's fine.
We're gonna bring in, ooh, this is gonna be an interesting one. I'm gonna go for Milotic. Close combat, that's fine. We got lefties on ourselves.
Which means I just get to click this again, which is honestly amazing. Clicking close combat here is so nice to kill that Milotic. Infernape already putting in so much work this season. This is my favorite Pokemon of all time, so I'm really, really glad to see it doing a lot of work. This is also honestly gonna be able to claim a really nice kill against Kyurem White, guaranteed. So Pyukumuku comes in here.
Ooh. Too much damage, Chitoge is going in, okay. Let's see, what can we bring out that would be better here? Alright, maybe Pyukumuku would have been a better choice, in hindsight. Pyukumuku would have been a better choice. Let's block in for whoever she's bringing in. Yep. Block. Can't escape.
I'm gonna go hard into Mega Pidgeot here. Mega Pidgeot was designed specifically to counter this Pokemon, so goes for block. I honestly don't mind that. I'm gonna Mega Evolve here, and what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm gonna go for a Toxic. The only Pokemon that's immune to this is Mega Venusaur, and it would never come in hard. So we see the Toxic go off from this end. That's perfectly fine. My guess is that this has to have Refresh. I feel like this has to have Refresh. So I'm going to go for a Refresh of my own. We'll scout to see if this is actually going to click Refresh or not. If it doesn't, we are set here.
Alright, and I'm going to switch out here. I'm trying to think what would be the best decision here. I think Recover. Or goes for the top Refresh. I should have thought she would have had Refresh in. I probably should have switched out there. Would have gotten a free switch in. I would have gotten a free switch in there. Damn it. This is the difference, I suppose. This is the difference. Hurricane, okay, that's fine.
Mirror, it does not get Mirror Coat. Okay, so I can actually just click Hurricane freely. And that does a really nice amount of damage as well. And we get the top Confusion. Okay, that's perfectly fine. My opponent getting off the Toxic there is honestly a really good play for them because they do force me to Refresh, which gives them a really free recovery turn or a switch. So I like that play a lot. That was a really good play by my opponent. I do kind of have to go for the Refresh here. So that's what I'm going to do. Mamoswine comes in. Yep, okay, see? And now comes the hard part because I don't have a switch into this.
Because she's got no guard, of course. Refreshes, that's fine. We're going to go for Ice Shard. Because it's priority, we get an advantage here. I think this is the best option we've got. Yep. Okay, we got Pidgeot out of here, it was important we got Pidgeot out of here. Because now, the only Pokemon that's a threat to us in this situation is Hippowdon, quite literally, as well as Excadrill to an extent. But I am concerned a bit about Hippowdon as well, but we'll see what's the situation.
Good play on them. I'm just going to go for my Hurricane now. So you see the Ice Shard go off, and we see that it kills. So we don't actually get a lot of information out of that, which is kind of unfortunate. But I'm just going to go into Infernape here, and I'm not going to mess around with this, because at the very least, I think that I'm free to click U-turn here. If my opponent stays in, good play on them. However, I think at the very bare minimum, I can U-turn and I can go into Hippowdon, sack that, and then just start going for kills with Drill. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to U-turn into Hippowdon, I think. That is, I think, ultimately my best play.
Because Pyukumuku is pretty much dead. There's no chance of it. I think it's best I do that. Goes for the U-turn. Interesting. Very, very interesting choice. Brings out Kyurem Black. Okay. I could have gone for EQ there. Okay, let's see what happens here. Subs in. Okay, recovers. Let's see what we can do here. I'm gonna block him from going out. Okay, that's fine. Fusion Bolt is a-okay. Because what we're gonna do is I'm gonna bring out Torkoal. And I'm gonna Lava Plume just to get rid of Sub.
I don't even know what Pyukumuku could have done to me. Maybe it was going for the counter, which would have broken my Sub, to be fair. But I always got a Sub up on it. In terms of the Torkoal, I'm kind of curious just what would do more. I'm assuming, well, we're fairly special. I assume that Fusion Bolt would still do more though, but maybe Ice Beam will. We're just gonna go for Fusion Bolt regardless. I don't know how this breaks my Sub. I'd actually choose that. Holy. I'm just gonna go for an Ice Beam, I think, because I'm kind of just curious. Okay, so Ice Beam does slightly more. We're just gonna go for Sub, and then we're just gonna go for Ice Beam. This has no recovery outside of leftovers.
I definitely think that, so I'm gonna just Lava Plume. Yeah, she's gonna keep going for Sub. And I know I can clear out this at the same time, and I can heal up faster. This is gonna be just a iteration of pretty much us lefties and subbing in. Because yeah, next time she does Ice Beam, we're gonna be in the red, but we'll still survive. She can't sub in again, and we will survive one more Ice Beam. Roost! Are you serious? Okay. Alright. She's gonna sub in again. I'm gonna take an advantage here and go into Mamoswine.
I'm just gonna go. Okay, so they're gonna switch now. Okay, perfectly fine. I'm just gonna click Ice Beam. I kind of wanted the Mamoswine in because it does allow my Infernape to come in a lot easier. Whereas Torkoal, I mean, while it is weakened, Torkoal could still definitely at least be a nuisance because it would stop me from. It would hypothetically be annoying at least. So my opponent does not Scarf Mamoswine. That shifted the screen. Oh my god, that actually broke this. That broke the theme. Oh no. Okay, well I definitely can't sub on this. I have to just click Ice Beam here. perfectly fine. Mammoth Swine going down is huge, honestly, because that does help with my Duskmane a lot significantly. So I'll definitely take this, to be honest.
Let's see. Yeah, she's going for Ice Beam. That's fine. Let's switch into Kyurem White. Fusion Flare. Goes for the Ice Beam. That's fine. Let's go for Fusion Flare. Get rid of Rem.
However, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Autotomize with Duskmane, because I should guarantee it. I believe I take a Specs hit, if I remember correctly. I believe I calc for mod Specs. So we should guarantee this go off. So I'm going to click my Autotomize here, and I'm going to go for my win. So we see the Fusion Flare go off. Perfectly fine.
The Duskmane Necrozma. We will be faster. So I'm going to go for Fusion Flare. See how much damage that does. Doesn't kill. Oh, are you serious? Weakness policy. Oh, God. Autotomize. Alright. I don't know why I was so excited about Autotomize. Flash Cannon. That's fine. Okay. That's A-okay. We're going to Mega Venusaur. Let's go Hidden Power Fire.
Honestly, it was so fun. I'm really, really glad that I got to pull this off, because this isn't something you could typically do. Typically, Duskmane isn't going to be your special win con, so I'm really glad that I could actually make it work. Shout out to Duskmane for being one of the best Pokemon of just all time.
Stored Power. Oh, are you serious? Okay, GG's. Fair play. Fair play. I wasn't expecting Weakness Policy Duskmane Necrozma. That's insane. Fair play to her. GG's. Aw. Fair play. GG's to her, man. She did a great job there. Phenomenal. Okay.
Very good game to Gale. Gale played that wonderfully. What we're going to do really quickly is we're going to hop and call, and we're just going to discuss the game out with Gale. So we'll cut real quick, and yeah, we'll see you guys then.
Alright, so we have Olivia here. How did you find the battle?
That was honestly a really fun match, to be honest. I really like your team a lot, so it was definitely a really fun team to just play around.
Yeah, I was actually
really good here.
Yeah, I was actually considering you were bringing Electros, and I was like, have I made a mistake not bringing potentially Emolga or something in to kind of just be there as something to kind of hold off Electros for a bit? But yeah, your team was sick. I wasn't expecting Hippowdon at all. That was a lot of fun, honestly.
Yeah, your Emolga was something I took a lot into consideration for prep, because it was your best ground switch in, and it was your best flying switch in. So if it wasn't for that, I would have brought Electros actually, but I really couldn't, with the chance that I thought Emolga could realistically actually come to this game and do a lot of damage against my team.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know whether or not, and I was too busy trying to also counter your other stuff, so I was like, Emolga could be at a bit of a risk here. At the same time, it was like, I think it was a lot of back and forth. This happened even in last week's battle for myself, was like, oh, I wasn't sure whether or not I would bring this, he would bring this, and it became a lot of just like us trying to bluff each other, basically. Honestly, the one thing I'm surprised by, I wasn't expecting weakness policy for some reason. I just completely blanked out on weakness policy, Duskmane Necrozma. I was like, we should be fine here. And then I saw weakness policy kick in, and I was like, never mind, we're not done here.
Yeah, I made sure that I could, as well as possible, take on a Specs Kyurem White for a single Fusion Flare with that. And my goal was actually to specifically set up on Kyurem White and go for game with that. Or Scarf Terrakion if you were locked into Earthquake, because I could actually take 2 Earthquakes from Scarf Terrakion. And that was the only Pokemon I could not outpace after Autotomize, because I really wanted the Modest on there for damage.
That's fair, yeah. So. Yeah, that was like, I was like, we could have, like, especially when we were having that Torkoal and Kyurem, like, substitute Lava Plume just back and forth. So I was like, I mean, I thought in my head, like, if it has Roost, it could be problematic, because my Kyurem also had Roost, and I was like, if this thing has Roost, it's not gonna go down the way I think it would have gone down, and it didn't go down because you did have Roost on it. So it was just like, well, never mind. I'm gonna have to try and see what I can do and switch into Mammoth Swine, but that also didn't work out because Ice Beam literally just nearly one-shot it, which I was surprised it didn't one-shot, but you know, that was great though. That was really enjoyable.
I would say, especially with the crit, I was kind of shocked because it was fairly special on my Kyurem Black too. Because I didn't really need any attack investment for Fusion Bolt for the waters. So I decided as well that I figured I could easily sack Kyurem Black to your Kyurem White. And I sort of just hoped that I could kill Mammoth Swine ideally, because it's just a lot scarier for my endgame. But my goal was to sack Kyurem Black to Kyurem White and then bring this in. Because even if you were to, let's say, crit a Fusion Flare, let's say, I still had my Scarf and Ferniepe in the back. I still had my Sand. So I wasn't really too concerned with the offense at that point, just as long as I could get a free switch in is all. Because Kyurem White was obnoxious to switch on.
Yeah, it would have been kind of ridiculous in terms of that. Yeah, and then once you had the weakness policy items going and everything, there was nothing my Mega Venusaur could have done, because I also had HP Fire as well on him, just in case you brought in some of the steel types you had, obviously with Duskmane, Necrozma, and Excadrill as well. But obviously, by the time you've obviously autotomized and you would have outspeed anyways. Venusaur's a slow boy, comparatively. So there was no shot in that. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And yeah, hopefully you guys in the audience enjoyed that. We will be back for week 3. And hopefully you guys do tune in on the other battles that will be occurring throughout this week as well. Liv, thank you so much for the battle. It was really a pleasure, and hopefully you have good luck in the rest of your battles as well.
No problem. It was really a great time getting to play you, and hopefully you have good luck in the rest of your matches as well.
Appreciate it. And anyways, guys, remember, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more of the Draft League, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Bye, guys.